Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, Mayor Fatemi. Getting into our next segment here, we're going to talk a little bit about Damian Lillard. News finally coming out yesterday that Damian Lillard will be back in the lineup for the Milwaukee Bucks sometime in the Pacers series. He is still out for Game 1 on Saturday, but he's resumed contact workouts, ramping up his return, getting ready to be back for this team. And it's going to be really interesting to see Damian Lillard missing about the last 3 or 4 weeks now. But we all know who Damian Lillard is. We've seen him time and time again throughout his playoff career show up in a similar fashion as Jimmy Butler does, calling him playoff Jimmy. There is a world you can call him playoff Dame with the amount of highlight plays he's had over the years, buzzer beaters, improbable playoff series wins that you didn't expect them to pull out in his days when he was in Portland. In general, we're going to get into Damian Lillard and everything to expect from him. But before I move any further, I'd like to remind you guys to please like and follow the show for more GSMC Sports Network content. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask that you use the tips and donations link at gsmcpodcast.net for your questions. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I see it. It also really helps out the show. Again, the link is gsmcpodcast.net for all your questions and comments. And I've said it before on this show, your guys' input helps us build our shows, the good, the positive, the negative, everything in general. Lets us know what you guys want to hear, helps us build our shows, and you guys are a massive part of what we do here at the GSMC Sports Network. So please, let us know everything. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below or in the chat. But getting right back into it here. Yeah, Damian Lillard finally cleared. We saw last week that he was having a test on blood on his. He was suffering from something called deep vein thrombosis. Another word to call it is blood clots in his veins. And when it's left untreated, just to go over it really quick, when it's left untreated, it can cause heart attacks. So obviously, it's not great to pass up on your it's not good to pass up on your health when it can cause death. Simple as that. We don't need to go any further than that. But this is unprecedented. We've heard from doctors over the last few days now, since his test earlier this week, that there is really no timetable. There never really has been a timetable on this injury because there haven't been a lot of players that come back from this injury. But yeah, this has been a stunner for Damian Lillard. This is an absolute stunner, and this is a God-sent gift for the Milwaukee Bucks. There is a lot of speculation, honestly, that Damian Lillard, especially come playoff time, even if he's not 100%, if it looks clear enough that he can roll the dice and at least give his team an opportunity to make it to go on a deep playoff run, the Damian Lillard will always take that shot, will always take that opportunity, and the Milwaukee Bucks are so happy to have him back. This will be the first year that Giannis and Damian Lillard will be on this floor together in the NBA playoffs. Last season, there was no Giannis. This season, we didn't know if Damian Lillard was going to be there, but now we know. He will not be there for Game 1. He has been ruled out. He was ruled out earlier this week when he had his first procedure and test on his blood to see how the thinning medications he was taking had been going. But yeah, since that is finished, he has resumed contact workouts and looks to be ready to go and back for their first round series against the Indiana Pacers. A series that I've lamented on this show over the last week will most likely go 7 games. One of the more competitive series in the Eastern Conference. 2 teams, the Indiana Pacers, still a little bit young, but gained a lot of experience in last year's playoffs. also taking out Milwaukee in last year's playoffs. Giannis trying to return to that um, peak form, getting ready to go on another deep playoff run. We haven't seen Giannis over the last 2 years. The last time we saw Giannis make it out of the first round was 2023 when they went up against or was it 2023? No, I lied. Both 2023 and 2024, the Milwaukee Bucks being sent home in the first round, 2023 being Miami when Jimmy Butler went absolutely ballistic against them. But 2022, the last time we saw Milwaukee make it to the second round when they lost in 7 games to the Boston Celtics. And then, of course, remember 2021, them going all the way to the NBA Finals and winning the NBA Finals. So, it's been kind of a steep decline for this Milwaukee Bucks team in terms of just overall playoff woes, like what to expect from them come playoff time. I mentioned going from finals 4 years ago, winning the finals 4 years ago, to back-to-back first-round losses. But it's good to have Damian Lillard back, and it will absolutely make this series even more interesting. But yeah, 3 weeks has been the timetable from the announcement of the injury to now being cleared to play. And the Milwaukee Bucks are so happy to have him back, like I mentioned. But yeah, this Milwaukee team will really need Damian Lillard to play that pick and roll style offense with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, we know, is the power, the freight train that we call Giannis through the paint, an athletic freak, the Greek freak, his nickname. And being able to pick and pop from the outside, being able to bring it to the inside with Giannis, this Milwaukee team is going to be formidable, and the Pacers are going to have their hands full with him. I think what the Pacers should do in this series, I don't know if they will do this, but what they should do is turn this series into a shootout. If they can turn games into a shootout, I know Milwaukee still has Damian Lillard. I completely understand that. But outside of Damian Lillard, like, if Damian Lillard is not hot per se from the outside, especially, I've lamented this before as well, when you come back from injuries, the last thing to come back to you as a shooter is your rhythm from the three-point line, is your rhythm as a shooter. Usually your shooting percentages take a little bit of a dip, falling from, say, I believe Damian Lillard was hanging around 40% from three-point range. He's probably going to dip to around 36, 35%, which can be a little bit of a swing, is a 6 to 9 point swing per game. So it's just going to be interesting to see how things pan out here. But yeah, this Indiana Pacers team should turn it into a shootout, especially with the guys that they have on their team, with Andrew Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, Benedict Mathurin. All these guys, a very incredibly deep team. 7 guys deep that can go 10 plus points a game. Aaron Nesmith, I didn't even mention, a big piece of this offense over the last 2 years. Yeah, the Milwaukee Bucks, both teams, honestly, I think, have their hands full on how to scheme for them, how to scheme against each other. Milwaukee will try to implicate their dominance in the paint. If they can do that, similar to what the Dallas Mavericks style is, just give the ball to Giannis and just ask him to go down the lane and get a bucket. And then use the pick and pop method between him and Dame. I think it'll really help out this team. I think this team can make a deep playoff run if they like. I just think this series, regardless of who wins this series, I think, I don't really want to say that hot take yet. I do have a hot take for this year's NBA playoffs in the second round, but I don't want to say it yet. Just because if I'm wrong, I don't really want this clip to be against me. So I'm going to hold that opinion to myself for now and come back to it in a few games. Let's just see how the series pans out a little bit before I get ahead of myself. But yeah, that's the state of the Eastern Conference right now. Damian Lillard officially cleared to return, and a much anticipated return for him. So we are so excited to have him back in the NBA world, and it makes this series against the Indiana Pacers that much more must watch. I believe this series starts on Saturday. It's the first game to kick off the NBA playoffs. So buckle up, because this weekend is going to be crazy, especially if this game is the first game of the Saturday slate. But I'm going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the New Orleans Pelicans, them firing their president of basketball operations. I believe his name's Willie Reed. But hiring Joe Dumars as their new head of basketball operations. We're going to take a look at the New Orleans Pelicans, recap their season a little bit. I know they had a little bit of a disappointing season. Talk a little bit about Zion Williamson, what they should do in the offseason with him and around the team in general, and in general moving forward, what to expect from the New Orleans Pelicans in 2026. I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, it's going to be New Orleans Pelicans basketball.